It's my privilege this morning to begin by recognizing two leaders who have inspired and championed positive change for our schools and community. When our community needed someone to step up and to help address our school facilities needs, Todd Uticall and Bill Butler rose to the challenge and led a remarkable campaign that resulted in the passage of Measure I in November of 2022. Because of their dedication, passion, and hard work, we will be able to provide the school facilities that our teachers, students, and school communities deserve and can be proud of. Bill and Todd have been true examples of our community of character traits, investing and giving back to the people of the place all of our families can be proud to call home. It's my pleasure to welcome and to honor a most excellent duo as PUSD Champions of Change. Please come on up. Take a picture over here. It's up to you.
We both went to the barber today, got the same haircut.
All of us. All right, here we are. I have a couple of goals today. I'll share with you those goals as starters to the conversations. First of all, I hope not to trip and fall, and there's a couple of places in here which will provide that opportunity for me because videos moving and me looking up cause trouble. Number two, I hope not to drop my cards because that will make the presentation a little bit less organized, but we'll get through it together. So I want to acknowledge our Board of Trustees who are here with us this morning. President Steve Maher, take a stand and wave, Steve. Vice President Mary Jo Carrion. And Trustees Lori Walker. Kelly Matashi. And our Student Trustee Annabelle Kim. Justin Brown sends his regrets. He had a work commitment that he could not change. And he is very excited about the presentation and all the work that's going on, but let's give him a round of applause. I also want to thank our mayor, Carla Brown. Would you stand real quick and be recognized? And the city council member is Valerie Arkin. I want to extend thanks to Jeff Nybert and Julie Testa, who I don't believe are with us this morning. But we appreciate your partnership, your support for our students and their families, and the fact that we work together to serve the same community of Pleasanton. And I appreciate that, the collaborative effort that goes into all of that work. So thank you very much for being here this afternoon. I also have the privilege of working with a very talented group of people, some of whom we just introduced, but also my executive cabinet, Deputy Superintendent Ed Dialazzo, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Ahmad Sheikhosalami, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Will Nelson, and Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Mr. Julio Hernandez. Privilege to serve this incredible community together, along with our teachers and our support staff. And also with us this morning is our APT President, Cheryl Atkins, and CSEA President, Laura Martinez. I would be remiss to not thank two exiting board members. Their leadership and vision over the course of time prior to my being here and since made dramatic change and led to dramatic outcomes for the community of Pleasanton and the schools in particular. Much of the important work that we're going to be talking about today is founded in the vision of those two and previous board members, or like Valerie Arkin, who's now on the City Council, and Jamie Yee, all of whom contributed to the vision that shaped many of the projects that you'll be seeing this morning as we talk. And I'm grateful to have worked with them and the rest of the leaders in the district for the past 6 years. I also, as we saw 2 trustees exit the dais, we saw 2 trustees enter the dais. And so welcoming this time from trustee area 5, Justin Brown. And from trustee area 2, Lori Walker. Both of whom were sworn in December at our meeting then, and they have joined an incredible team of school system leaders, and I appreciate you very much, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. So 22 has been a year of opportunities and challenges. And through it all, we as a system continue to learn and to grow. While the pandemic is behind us, the effects of remote learning and isolation at home are ongoing. These discomforts are felt both in the classrooms as teachers manage discipline issues and behavioral challenges, but we also know, and I know from talking to many of you, that those behavior challenges also extend into homes and into the community. Through another year of recovery, our efforts have been guided through these 5 organizational goals with renewed focus on student mental health, wellness, and promoting equity and inclusion. We're also working diligently to diversify our workforce. These goals drive the work outlined in our organizational plan, which you can find and review on your own time at your leisure by going to our new and improved district website. If you've not seen that yet, it's pretty impressive. So visit the new district website. You can find the organizational plan, and I want to thank Allison and Patrick for their work in getting that website together. The lingering impacts of the pandemic are just now being studied by researchers across the globe, not just here in the United States. Students didn't just lose academic learning during the shutdown. Some lost family members lost jobs, families lost income and stability, and most experienced long periods of social isolation. Emerging data note increased anxiety, depression, concerns about mental health, including links between wellness and acting out behaviors both inside and outside of schools. Many students miss development of foundational skills which are necessary for ongoing learning outcomes. Just a little example. 2nd grade teachers who welcome students back into their classrooms who hadn't learned quite yet how to hold a pencil, or how to share, or how to interact with a group. See, those are social skills we might call the hidden curriculum of a school that are taught in TK and kinder and 1st grade. And when those students had been at home, not all of those skills were achieved. Same thing is true with middle school students who are learning critical math skills that they'll need in upper levels of math in high school. We watched 9th graders and 10th graders come onto campus who hadn't yet really learned the social norms of acting together in a school community. We saw behaviors in locker rooms as an example that look more like middle school behaviors than they did like high school behaviors. And so our staff, our teams, have been working really very hard to try to help them recover those lost skills, while at the same time we try to do the work we've been known to do well for long periods of time. So in some cases it felt, I'm sure, to teachers, like you were doing 2 jobs. You were doing the job that you know how to do for the grade level you teach, but you're also addressing gaps, either behaviorally or developmentally or academically, for the previous years when the students were in isolation. Huge challenge, a huge lift, and consequently I have a huge amount of respect for our teachers who are doing that work and bringing our kids to the place where they need to be so that they can go out and make the world what? A better place. This is life-changing work that we're engaged in. And the amount of stress and anxiety, both on the student side and on the adult side coming out of the pandemic, have been almost insurmountable, and for some people, they have been insurmountable. So we've seen transitions, and they're not positive ones. So we need to continue focusing on that. We need to make sure that while the pre-pandemic structures and programs may be insufficient to do the work that we need to do, we might need to look at making different investments in schools and as a community in supporting our students and families across the board. As a means to address those issues, our management team began the year with a shared focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this work has deep roots in PUSD. It's not new work. It's been around for a while. But it is being guided now by the new equity policy that the board adopted in the last year. The top picture is our leadership team at the conclusion of our leadership symposium just prior to the start of the school year. I continue to be amazed at the work of these incredible people, some of whom are in the room today. So let's one more time give it up for the leaders that are present. Because I know them, I know that our kids are in good hands when we send them to school every day. We're actively engaging students, educators, staff, families, and community leaders in this important work. The Diversion, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force, which some of them are represented here, are helping us guide and inform that work. The picture there was taken during our leadership symposium in August, where those folks came and sat down and shared personal stories about what it was like to come from out of their particular demographic into the Pleasanton schools. Some of those stories were incredibly difficult to listen to because they weren't positive. And they were sharing real personal stories of what it was like to enter a Pleasanton school or the Pleasanton community as a whole. Those are things we don't like to hear, we wish we wouldn't hear, but are important that we listen to if we're going to do this work together. As we reopened schools after the pandemic, our organizational focus was on reconnecting with kids, restoring relationships with kids, and reimagining the way we offer learning opportunities to students. This meant, for us, showing up in different ways maybe than we had in the past, and meeting students where they were at as opposed to where they should be. Because as a ninth grader who hasn't yet mastered 7th grade mathematics skills, we know where they should be, but we have to meet them where they're at. And that means that's that complex instruction that I was talking about a few seconds ago. This BOOST program, it's a group of middle school students, 4 middle school students who need academic or social emotional supports. It was funded through the Extended Learning Opportunities Grant, which is state funds that were provided to help districts address the pandemic-related learning challenges. This is only one example, but I wanted to provide an example in the picture of the ways that our Student Support Services Division and our Teaching and Learning Division are working in collaboration to ensure that student needs are met, be they academic, behavioral, or developmental. So the Power of Us continued to play a vital role in how we move forward, ensuring that we are engaging every student effectively to drive their individual academic success. Stack 2. This was the goal of not dropping the cards as I was trying to do the presentation. We continually celebrate the diversity of our community. This picture captures a moment during the Chinese New Year demonstration at Walnut Grove Elementary School. Do I hear? It's one of your guys. These events are learning opportunities that help ensure each student feels connected, respected, and valued as a part of the member of a school community. The next picture is from the Tamil Academy, where students here were sharing about their learning relating to the language and the cultures of their families. This is a step dance program, which is a part of our African American Family Network. This group of students meets on Thursdays at Pleasanton Middle School. It's a part of our extended learning program and supported through our Educational Options leadership. I think Jamie Mather, who was just named an Administrator of the Year for Region 6. Region 6 of ACSA. Spends lots of his time in the evenings and on the weekends working with different groups of kids and ensuring that they're connected to school. Another program that's pretty cool is the Get on the Bus program at Valley View Elementary School, which provides opportunities for students to participate in community-based soccer programs with RAGE and Ballistic United. We appreciate our community partners who have reached out to us to provide opportunities like this for our students. This was their initiative that we were able to help facilitate. So thank you to Rage and Ballistic for their work with our kids. The next picture shows Heidi Deeringhoff, principal at Fairlands Elementary School during a Diwali celebration. I'm grateful for our parent community who consistently steps up to ensure our students stay connected to their heritage, that others, like myself, have an opportunity to learn. I'm also grateful, let's give them a round of applause. I'm also grateful for Patrick that he chose not to use the picture of me trying to learn how to dance at the Diwali celebration at PMS, which happens annually every year for the purpose of raising funds for our elementary music program. So let's give a hand to that group. Thank you, Patrick, once again. All of our staff members are engaged in the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion every single day. It's carried by every member of the team who touches the life of students around them, and I'm proud to count myself among those dedicated public servants who have a passion about inclusion. Pictured here is PUSD and Alameda County Classified Employee of the Year, Fernando Bongiorno, who serves the Leidachsen Elementary community. This was taken the day that he was recognized at the Employee of the Year, but I'll tell you, having walked campuses, this is his experience walking across campus any break or lunchtime at the school. So clearly those young people are connected to him. We continue to provide learning opportunities that support inclusion of students who learn in different environments or different ways and require flexibility that's difficult sometimes to achieve in a traditional school setting. Our Educational Options Department and the Pleasanton Virtual Academy play an important role in these efforts, and we're fortunate to have some world-class educators, including our PUSD Teacher of the Year, Eric Little, who serves students at Pleasanton Virtual Academy every single day. Our elementary education team has been diving deep into expanding their experience and understanding of the science of reading. The letters training has been well attended by our K-5 teachers, and feedback has been very positive about that professional development. As I walk through classrooms, I see incredible work being done by our teachers, including high levels of engagement of students in the lessons that they're presenting. Effective instruction, high levels of engagement always lead to great learning outcomes. So kudos to our teachers for doing great work every day. We're proud to partner with the University of California at San Francisco as one of 30 school districts statewide to pilot a universal dyslexia screening program to assist our efforts in providing support for our developing readers. Across the educational space, and by that I mean across the United States, teachers and school leaders are increasingly focused on modernizing grading practices, so that they're more reflective of student growth and mastery of content area standards and grade level standards. Well, mastery-based grading, or you may have heard it called equity, grading for equity. While that is a key component of our equity work, the rationale extends far beyond that principle or singular purpose. All students benefit from ongoing, timely, and specific feedback on their learning pathway. Opportunities to fine-tune our performance, myself included, is a critical part of developing a growth mindset and establishing future success. Our CTE teams at the site and district levels are fully engaged in the development of new and exciting pathways for students. Conversations with our workforce development partners in Las Positas College show promise for development of expanded pathways and result in advanced certifications and apprenticeship opportunities for our students. Apprenticeship opportunities are pathways that lead directly from high school through work to career. And when we talk about career, we're not talking about just taking a job somewhere. We're talking about a trade that pays well and is a pathway that some of our students have been very interested in, and I'm excited to see those things starting to come to fruition. Our friends at Hart Middle School have had a good year. First, they were recognized as a National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Department of Education, and then more recently, they were recognized as a 2023 School to Watch by the California League of Educators. So let's give a round of applause. POC continues to pursue a mission that states our students will make a better world. There should be a little bit more passion. Our students will make a better world. I like that much better. That mission comes to life through the success of our students during their time in the district and long after they have left to pursue college and their career goals. The Foothill High School competitive civics team is a great example, pictured here right after winning their first state We the People championship. And these kids and their teachers work so hard on this program that when they compete and win, you can see it live in their faces. Their peers at Amador Valley High School will be joining them at the national competition because they were identified as the wild card berth in the California Championships, which is what happened with Foothill last time. So once again, the two PUSD high schools are going to a national competition in the United States Capitol. Let's give them both a round of applause. Our future is bright because these young leaders, because of the adults who teach, coach, and mentor them along the way. And that mentoring and coaching and teaching doesn't just start with the We the People coaches at high school. It starts with our very youngest classrooms and the teachers that are preparing them along the way. So a round of applause to our teachers' homework. These ideals also permeate how we lead within the broader Pleasanton community. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Nelson for his strong advocacy for equity and inclusion work during his talk at Tri-Valley's Martin Luther King Fellowship Breakfast. Let's give him a round of applause. You made us all proud and helped draw the community leaders into that work, and that's important. That's really important, so thank you for that work. Diversity, equity, and inclusion permeate through all that we do as an organization. Our Human Resources Division is helping lead inclusion efforts as they recruit and expand the diversity of our PUSD workforce. They initiated a substitute training program to supplement their robust recruitment efforts and to help inspire new educators, including parents and community members from Pleasanton. So this is taking a parent who has a BA, getting them their substitute certification program, and then helping them into the teacher credentialing program if that's their interest. Another way to make sure that we're bringing our teachers into our community. So let's give the HR department a round of applause. The quality of our school campuses continue to play an important role in how we serve our students. Thanks to our facilities and construction team, and the generosity of the Pleasanton community, Measure I-1 is having a significant impact on our schools and on our students. The team has made significant gains in completing this work, creating safe and inclusive learning environments for our kids, and they've already begun the work planning for Measure I projects, which are soon to come. Now come the scary parts.
No such thing. We're positive.
All right, well, you're seated. I'm not worried about you. So this is the Leidachsen Elementary School rebuild project. It's nearing completion. The work is just being done on the circular building that we maintain for our specialists. But I thought it would be fun to do a little flyover. So here's a flyover of Leidachsen School. That's the part that does it to me. Isn't that a beautiful campus? There's the new parking lot and drop-off loop. Kids Club, the field. Get ready for a turn. You don't get the smelling of the oranges and the breeze like you do this, but it's close. It's close. We did try. The Measure I-1 Hard Science Classroom building is ready to welcome students in a week or two. The rain has delayed the process because the last piece is the cement work that goes on for the kids to get from one part of the school to the new classrooms. So as soon as we can get the cement done, we're going to open it to the students. It's exciting to know that our Huskies will finally have adequate science classroom spaces. So when the school was built, the normal size science classroom was not a part of that construction project. So they were in regular sized classrooms. And if you ever known a science teacher, you know they got lots of stuff. They do lots of labs. And those teachers have been so creative for so long, it's going to be exciting to see them spread out a little bit and be able to experience the teaching environment that should have been there all along. Here we go. This is shorter. 6 science classrooms and a shade structure out in front. And then on the back side, which you'll barely see, you don't even really get to see it, is a parking lot, small parking lot for teachers out in front. All right, Patrick, are you going to go to the next one? Nope. There we go. This is a fun one, a second CTE building at Foothill High School, which will house workshops and prep spaces, was made possible from matching funds between the Measure I-1 project and a grant that was written by the CTE department chair, Josh Hill, and his team of teachers at Foothill. They won a CTE construction grant, which required matching funds. So we're able to put those two sources of revenue together, and you'll be able to see the status of that building now. If you haven't had a chance to walk through that building, you should go walk through that building. It really is, the lab space they've created there is very unique. Roll-up doors so they can move things in and out of the classrooms. Very, very, very cool building, and an example of what happens when, as a district leader, you make a choice to empower people to do something and then get out of their way so that they can get it done, and just make sure that you've got the supports built around them so that they find success. That building is there because of our teachers having a vision and the district being cognizant of the fact that the best decisions always get made the closest to the kids. Does that make sense? The athletic fields. And so in about 6 months, they raised over $250,000 to put this cement ramp from the top part of the stadium at Foothill so that students via wheelchairs can get down to the field level for events that take place. And so kudos to Todd and his friends. just an example of what collective action within a community can accomplish when people work together. And so again, thank you for that work. We also had an example here at Foothill. This is a community-based action that was conducted by an Eagle Scout who attends Foothill High School. So this is his Eagle Scout project. He transformed the overgrown garden that was in the front of the school. Luckily it was down low so you couldn't really see it when you drove by because it was not a pretty sight. They came in and made it a pretty sight as a part of their Eagle Scout project. Their work brings to mind a quote from the Boy Scouts founder, Baden Powell, who encouraged young people to try to leave the world a little better than you found it. And I would suggest that they accomplished that goal with the garden there at Foothill High School. Well done, Falcons. Let's give them a round of applause. Not to be outdone by a group of kids, the Foothill PTA helped fund new benches around the school to help build a sense of community on the campus. So today I kind of picked one school to talk about the impact of collective community action. The fact is that you can find projects like this at all the schools. We're talking about the garden at Moore, the mural at Moore, or the garden at Walnut Grove. You can find examples across the district where community members have come together and supported efforts at the schools, and many of those efforts are led by our PTA groups, and we have lots of PTA parents in the room. Let's give them a round of applause. So back to Bill and Todd for a second. They led the community into support measure I-1 on the November 22 ballot. This effort was affectionately known as Bill and Todd's most excellent adventure. As you can see, they were not alone. A lot of community and school district leaders in the room there. I want to thank everybody for the effort to improve the learning experiences of Pleasanton children through the various facility improvements that will come out of Measure M. We knew that this would be an uphill path, but I had faith that the community would support the effort as long as we painted a very clear picture of the outcomes. And I'm grateful for the community leaders and volunteers. This is just a couple of pictures off my cell phone. I'm sorry I didn't get all of the people that supported us, because there were a lot more that did much more than just these pictures. I included most of these because in Measure M, I was told by our consultants, don't worry about the what do we call it, the market on Saturday. Farmers market. Don't worry about that. Because Pleasant people don't go there. Those are people that come out of town that just go to farmers market all over the place. So I listened to the consultants, and I didn't worry about it in Measure M. This time, we worried about it. We were there most Saturdays. And I'll tell you, some of the most interesting and important conversations I had as a superintendent with members of the communities happened on those Saturdays in that place. So I'm really, really glad that we broke that mindset and we participated, because those were really, really critical conversations.
And thank you to the phone bakers too.
Oh yeah. So you can't really see it, but if you look behind the lower picture in the center, if you look through that area, you would walk into this place called Sidetrack. So Todd's ability to support us was even there. So, and that's where the phone banking occurred as well. So Todd's not open on Tuesdays, right, Todd? So we were able to use the facility for that. All day, is that what you said? So, step one, as I said a minute ago, was to paint the picture of what would be possible with community funding of resources. Seen here was the proposed replacement gyms at Amador Valley High School. These were a series of conceptual drawings that helped tell a story to build support for the initiative. While we did not convince everyone, only 57.6% or whatever the number was. before the vote. We now have an opportunity, and that's to put our words into action. So that even the people who doubted our ability to do this work can see that we're sticking with what we said. We're doing the things we showed them, and they're seeing it happen quicker than it happened the last time. But this is just the initial work. There's a lot of design conversations that have to be had with the communities at the school sites. Inside those gyms, these are facility improvements that have been needed for a long time. And our coaches, our athletes, and our school communities are excited to know that this is on the horizon. They want to see the work begin. The Performing Arts Center that was proposed to replace the Amador Theater is designed to incorporate modern facilities and yet at the same time have a nod to the historical nature of that building and to make it really be something that becomes a valued community asset, not just an asset of the school district. And no longer will our students have to go to Dublin or Livermore to rent venues to host their own performances. I'm excited about that in particular. At Foothill, the gyms will be modernized to provide appropriate athletic and gathering facilities for students and staff. And while these proposed renderings are gorgeous, I really think that they are, it's important to note that the school communities still need to weigh in on the design of the final proposals. That includes the basic design work as well as the placement of facilities on their campuses. These discussions will undoubtedly drive the timelines related to the construction of the projects, and those timelines have not yet been determined. This is exciting work that will bring modern gathering spaces to our community and support all all learners of all ages, 7 days a week, 365 days a year through availability via the Civic Center process. These are community resources. They're not just school resources. Last act. Thank you for your patience. Moving forward, we have some quick start Measure I projects. The goal is to get the bonds sold quickly, hopefully in the next couple of months, and the dollars will start to initiate a few quick start projects. The first that you'll see are the middle school fields, beginning with Pleasanton Middle School, which is a very poorly conditioned field at the moment, so I'm excited to get that fixed for kids and for our teachers. Another quick start project will be moving the STEAM preschool and the Horizon preschool, which currently sit at the Bernal property at the district office, over to join the iPals preschool on the backside of Harvest Park. That will put all of our early learning programs together in one space and help provide better supervision and support for all of those programs. You'll also see items coming before the board that will indicate the initial stages for rebuilding Village High School, also at the Bernal property. The new facility will serve as the Educational Options Center. This is just a conceptual drawing. We don't yet know what it will look like completely. And the Educational Options Center will house Village High School, the Pleasanton Virtual Academy, and our Independent Study Home Hospital and Adult Transition Program. You'll also see projects coming forward quickly that are designed to support our youngest learners, the new TK students that are coming onto campuses. And those are coming through funds via both Measure I-1 and Measure I. On July 1st, we'll begin our move to the new district office building, moving off of the Bernal property into the building on West Las Positas, almost across the street from Hart Middle School. The interior site improvement work has already begun, and the move and relocation of all of those programs off the Bernal property will set the stage for repurposing that piece of property. So over the past few years, we've discussed the need for workforce housing in Pleasanton. Right now, we're doing a survey to determine exactly how much interest there is on the part of our teachers and employees. Either way, it's happening. That's what's important to me. And we'll strive to make Pleasanton a more inclusive community for the educators and support staff who serve our students. We asked the city of Pleasanton to include 2 of our properties in their a new housing element plan. Both the Bernal site on the right, where the current district office is, and the Neal property or the Vineyard property on the left, you can see circled in yellow there, were ultimately included in that plan. A 7-Eleven committee is currently meeting to determine the surplus status of those 2 properties and potential uses for them in the future. We're also looking at adjusting boundaries. When the board determined to put a hold on the 10th elementary school due to declining enrollment, the student services team and the business services team started work on planning for potential boundary adjustments to level the enrollment across our schools, or balance it more than level it. We expect that this planning work will be done in the spring of 2023, relatively soon, and that we will begin to implement the new boundaries in a strategic and somewhat flexible way over the next school year. Some grandfathering for people who are in existing programs who don't want to move yet, but also allowing people who really would like to move to go ahead and move if that's their interest. And so that will take us a bit of time to straighten it all out. But the idea is to try to be as flexible as we can where possible and to work with our families so that the transition is productive for them over time. We're practicing intentional actions designed to build the Pleasanton community of character. We hope to inspire students to take responsibility for their choices and actions. We want to motivate students to make a difference in the world around them. And we want to continue to recognize both our students and our staff for modeling responsibility, compassion, self-discipline, honesty, respect, and integrity. And as an adult network, what I'll call a web of support for our students, we should all make an effort to represent those and model those characteristics of the community of character for our students, both in schools, when they're at home, and when they're in the community. As I get older, the older I get, the more I begin to wonder about legacy. What's my legacy? What does the world remember about me? What do my grandkids learn about me in the years to come? And I don't think I'm alone in this. As we get older, I think we tend to think about those types of things. The same is true regarding the work that's going on in our district right now. I see much of it as legacy work. Many of the projects that we're beginning to work on, they won't come into fruition for years to come. But we do that work. We build because we see the future by looking into the eyes of our current students. And we know that it's our responsibility, I'll personalize it, it's my responsibility to do right by those kids and by those people who work with those kids every single day. Our teachers work in that space, the legacy space, all the time. As a teacher, you never know the impact of the work that you're doing today and what it will lead to for that student in the years to come. When you hear back 20 years later from a student that you had that you thought didn't like you and never listened to you, and they tell you how much you meant to them 20 years ago, and you wonder whether or not you're remembering history correctly. Because you know that's true, that the seeds you plant today often won't grow and produce for many years to come, you do that work believing in those kids that are before you today. As a community, we're doing some legacy work in the building that we're doing. We're planning that there's proverbs in many different cultures. We're planting that tree under whose shade we'll never sit. And that's what wise people do. That's the work that wise communities support. It kind of makes me think back to that quote from the Boy Scout founder, Baden Powell, that we're doing this work, I'm doing this work because I want to leave Pleasanton in a better place. We want to leave our community in a better place than we found it. Whether we found it 6 years ago, last year, or 40 years ago, we always want to leave having made it a better place. Now, a special thank you to our friends at PPIE for hosting and coordinating this event. Appreciate it. It's always a scary time for me because I don't like standing in front of public and talking. It scares the crud out of me. But you guys have been very nice, and I do appreciate that. I'm grateful for each of you and appreciate your ongoing partnership and the work to the benefit of our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you.